Hi, and welcome once again to TonyWilliams.com. As I always say at the start of all my videos, I hope some of the materials I'm able to share today could get an average person like myself going from a place of good to greatness as we strive to reconstruct ourselves from the life we used to live, to build a legacy for ourselves that is sustainable and that would hopefully last. Today I want to talk about a simple word we're all probably common with, called failure. You know, I want to talk about why we fail, you know, and some of the traits that we have as human beings that though, you know, it seems all blended in the surface, or it seems all nice on the surface, deep down within us it causes a lot of damage, and it's a major obstacle to our paths to success. You know, so there are some traits that we have that as individuals, you know, we just think they're really harmless, but in the parts of our chosen career is actually being like a major stumbling block to us achieving our set purposes and desires and our goals in life. You know, when a car is sort of faulty, you've got to take it to a mechanic, ain't it? You take it to a mechanic and he looks at it, he identifies what the issue is, and then he begins to fix it, and then hopefully it works properly. Or perhaps when we're sick, you know, or we proper sick, not when we're just taking self-medication, we go to a doctor, he does all his tests, he identifies what the problem is, and then gives us prescriptions that would hopefully lead us back to good health. And there's no difference in identifying what failure is in our life, because it's actually a disease, or it's a fault in our life, because we're built, or we're made perfect by our God. So when we begin to have, you know, traits of failure or symptoms of failure in our life, sometimes yes, we can go to people for help, but the first part where we start to look for help should be within ourselves. You know, so once we identify what the issue or what the causes of our failure is, we can begin to go on the path that would lead us to the stretch of success. You know, so yeah, today I want to talk about it. As I said, I want us to be able to identify it. I want us to know how to conquer it, and if even we're not able to, you know, identify all the traits that we have that causes us to fail, if we start by even identifying some and start in a way to, you know, a process to start removing some of those stumbling blocks off our way, I can guarantee you we are on the right path to success. And so I'll probably have about 10 points, but for the sake of the time of the video, I'm just going to sort of mention about maybe 4 or 5 before my time runs out. The number one part of failure that I know, knowing what I know now, is blaming everybody else but yourself. Do you know, not taking responsibility for your life, thinking every other person and every other circumstance that's around you is the cause of where you are or why you are what you are today. My friend, that's total crap. The number one person who is the major cause of whatever situation we find ourselves in today is ourselves and the choices that we've made from the start of our life to where we are now. You know, no one else takes that responsibility. Maybe, you know, to a little degree you could blame circumstances, but we've all been given the power of choice. You know, that's one thing that God never took away from no one. That choice to say yes or no to things when they're presented to you. And when those things are presented to you and you say yes to it, you make a choice that affects you. When you say no to those things that are similarly presented to you, good or bad, you make a choice that affects you. So one of the major, you know, people that we should actually not to blame for our situation is anybody else but ourselves. You know, look deep down, search deep down within yourself, look for where the root cause of the beginning of the situation, or the root cause of why you are where you are and how that situation began. Because I mean, we grew up from babies into kindergartens, into teenagers, you know, into young men and women, and all through those period of time we were making choices. Yes, up to an extent our parents made choices for us, but for the most of those times we made choices ourselves. You know, they said that they dragged the horse to the water, but they could never force the horse's neck to drink the water. So we made those choices ourselves, and those choices are in effect what we're living the results of now. If we're in any situation, if we're in a good situation, it's a result of the choices we made in the past. If we're in a bad situation, it's a result of the choices we've made in the past. So the first thing I'd like everyone to do, right, is to stop trying to affiliate your failure to anybody else. You know, yes, bad luck could be a cause, but the majority of it, the buck stops with you. So when we get to that position where we first of all identify that, look, okay, I am the root cause of my own problem, then we begin to know a way of how, you know, to change those things where we know we've done, and even things that only us know we do. You know, a lot of people live double life and secret lives and stuff like that. So only things that we know we do, the minute we make a choice within ourselves to start changing it, we begin to walk on the path to success. Secondly, the reason why I think, you know, a lot of people fail, or why we, you know, fail so much, is a similar point to the first, I beg your pardon, and that's blaming everybody else. I mean, the first was blaming everybody else, and the second is blaming ourselves. You know, blaming ourselves, but not blaming ourselves thoroughly to bring a change of the situation, if you understand what I'm saying. We blame ourselves only to an extent so we could be comfortable in the situation. Blame ourselves so we could justify why we're in that situation. Oh, I'm so dumb. Oh, I'm so silly. Oh, I'm such a... Why did I put my foot in it? I knew I was going to be, you know, I knew... But yes, you blame yourself to that extent just so you could justify why you're in that mess, and people could leave you alone, and people could probably have sympathy. You know, you blame yourself for sympathy of people, not actually blaming yourself for a change in the situation, but blaming yourself just to say, yep, that's who you are, you know, that's who I am, that's my character, you know, that's how God made me. No, God didn't make anybody to fail. You know, God made us so that we could fulfill our purpose and destiny that we all made it, that we have been assigned in life. So the choices we've made, again, as I said, are reasons why we get to where we are. But then if you're not blaming anybody else and you're trying to blame yourself enough so you could force a change out of yourself. You know, blame yourself so you could so that you could recognize that, you know what, yes, I've done, you know, I've made this wrong choice. Yes, I'm more capable than what, you know, I find myself in. Yes, I've got the ability to be, you know, super great in whatever my field or whatever my set skills are. You know, you find the child blaming, you know, his friend, you know, or the employee blaming the employer, or the husband blaming the wife. You know, blame yourself, but blame yourself not so you could be comfortable in the situation. Blame yourself so that you could trigger, that's the word I was looking for, trigger a process of change that will begin to bring change, that would make you identify with the root cause of why you're in that mess, what the choice you've made that brought you into that mess, and so that you could begin to see, visualize in a way where change could come from by stopping, or I don't know what the word is, by stopping to do those kind of things that you do that brought you into that mess. You know, third one, as far as I'm concerned, is having no goals. You know, I play football. You know, I like to think I do, and I played football for a very long time in my life. You know, at serious of levels. You know, nothing crazy. But I find it difficult to ever be able to identify how I could say I've won a game if there were no goals, or I've lost a game if there are no goals. You know, so if we put 11 players on the team, even if we decide to play 5-a-side and we put 5 players on the team, you know, there's no way I could go to the pitch and come back and say, yep, you know, we triumphed in that game, we won, if there are no set goals. You know, if there's not that goal post where we could kick the ball in and count how many was scored for us, how many was scored against us, and pull out the winner out of that, there's no way that could happen. And that's just a simple analogy, you know. So you have to be able to set a goal. If you don't have goals, then you're planning to fail, or you're always going to fail. I shouldn't even say plan to fail, you're always going to fail. Because how on earth, how else are you going to be able to know when you reach a specific target, when you reach a specific point? How else are you going to be able to find out when you've achieved something, or when you should give yourself a tap on the back, like, yep, well done? How else are you going to be able to find that? You know, so it's so important that we set goals, because goals would narrow our energy, it would narrow our mind, it will give us tunnel vision. We'll be able to have something that we're waking up and excited to go and do every time we walk the path. You know, if I was leaving from where I work now to the house, and I go in the car and, you know, I put no destination in my navigation, I'll never know how to get home. I mean, though I do know how to get home, but ideally I would never know how to get home if it was somewhere else. If I go to a different country, I just, you know, say car, hotel, and you know, I don't put the address in, and it doesn't create a map for me to get there. So I'll just be perambulating around the place. So it's so important that we have goals set, and those goals have to be able to be calculated, and they have to be measurable. You have to be able to know within a period of time, hopefully, that you can attain this goal, you know, if you continue to do the right things that you're meant to do. And the fourth one is equally similar to the third. Having no goals is bad enough. Setting low goals is equally worse, because they say, look, aim for the sky. At least if you miss, you hit the stars. Don't set low goals for yourself, because if I just set a goal for myself to get to just this next level, that's where I'm going to get, and not far beyond that. But set goals for yourself that are unimaginable, you know, goals that when you wake up in the morning, they scare you. But the thing about it is, the minute you start to make steps and progress towards it, I guarantee you the whole universe will begin to make way for that goal to happen. You put your mind to it, you follow the religious part that you're meant to go through it, and you'll be surprised how doors will be flung open, how circumstances will all just fall in your place, how you find favor with God and with man to make those goals happen. So it's important not to set low goals for ourselves, as well as set many goals for ourselves. You know, and by doing so, we realize that, you know, these things that we think are so difficult, these things that we think are, you know, so unattainable, they're really just at our fingertips. You know, if we have vision boards that, you know, we have our goals on every morning, I keep talking about it, and write them down, whatever it is, make it plain. Even though it tarries, so the Bible says, it will surely come to pass. You know? And then we all should know the value of hard work. Whatever you're doing, you know, the Bible says, see a man who is diligent in his work, he will stand before kings and not before main men. You've got to be diligent. You've got to know that this goal that I've set for myself, come what may, I'm going to get it. You've got to be able to wake up early. You've got to be able to sleep late. You know, when it's cold, you've got to be out there, hustle. You know, Just know, focus, know your goal, know what you're after. And in no time, you'll see the result come. I'll see the result come. You know, I'm in the same position as most people. I say these things because it's a lesson to myself. And I always say it's not because I feel I know anything. And, you know, this is a process that I follow myself. And as I said to someone today, if only I could encourage one more person, you know, to be on this track with me. At least when I'm weary, he can encourage me as well. And that's just the whole process. So that's all it is from me for today about failure. I've got some other points I want to touch were equally important. I'll probably bring it out in a part 2 of this video. But if, as I always say, if you have anything you want to discuss or any ideas you feel you might want to give me, please don't hesitate to drop me a mail, you know, or comment in any of the boxes that are below. Don't know which one it falls on. But yeah, until then, have a blessed day and God bless.